Hey, what's up? What's up? Joe in Vegas back with another review. I went again to Dead and Company. I think this is how it works. I think a couple people in the last review left comments about like, oh, welcome aboard the bus or something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. But I think I might know what you're talking about. So I went a couple weeks ago. I went on opening weekend here at the Sphere. And I honestly couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about the visuals. I couldn't stop thinking about everything about it on so many different levels. So I was telling my friend about it and decided to take her and another friend, and we decided to go check it out. So I got a couple tickets. Again, they're not fucking cheap. I'm not going to lie. They were $300 tickets. We were in section 308. Great seats. I mean, we got the full experience with it, but it's definitely not cheap. So I wasn't really planning on doing a review. I honestly just kind of went to have like a party night with the two of them and just enjoy. And pretty early on, I did not know this. So I thought that every show had different visuals. I'm sorry, my bad. Take that back. I thought every show had the same visuals mostly, and that they just changed a couple little pockets here and there. And I saw pretty quickly that was not the case. I would say from the original show from opening weekend, I would say at least 70-75% of the graphics were completely different, which was such a nice surprise for me. I was not expecting that at all. So I decided pretty quickly on, like, okay, let me start. I didn't even bring my camera with me. I just had my phone. So I decided to start taking video in case this trend continues and everything is going to be different. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I just flipped on this microphone, and I'm just going to talk, and we'll see where it goes. I don't think it'll be as long as the last one. But I did it mainly to share visuals. People seemed so appreciative on the last video, which did really well. I think we have, like, as I'm time recording this, almost like 70,000 views. So thank everybody. Thank you for watching and commenting. I love the comments, so keep them coming. But a lot of people just couldn't afford it, or a lot of people were disabled, or coming to Vegas just to them sounded like going to Mars. So they seemed pretty appreciative that I was sharing some of these graphics. So I'm doing this video really just to share the graphics. So same as last time. I'll talk about certain graphics, but don't get mad. I cannot. It's too difficult to do the editing to match them up exactly for lengthwise. So I'll mention a couple graphics, but, you know, I'm sorry. I wish I had the editing skills to match them all up, which I do, but it'll take me hours and hours and hours, and I'll have to shorten some of the video to match the audio. It's just not worth it. Anyway, and another disclaimer, it's been 2 weeks. I still don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm still not a fan. I'm sorry. Again, I am a fan. I'm just not a diehard fan, and when it comes to facts and history of the band, I don't know. But I'm really not going to get into that too much this time. So we went. I had 3 tickets. I paid about $300 a piece, which was pretty expensive. At the last minute, one of my friends was not feeling well, so she had to back out. So this is part of my becoming a Deadhead experience, I guess. We went down there. It was too late to sell it. It was too late to do anything. So we just got down there and we figured, okay, fuck it. We'll have an empty seat next to us. And as we got there, I noticed everybody had the fingers up in the air. And I remember that from going years ago to see Dead and Company. And I remember going to see Fish. But I had a hard time giving away a $300 ticket. Honestly, like, I'd rather have the empty seat than but the girl I was with kind of convinced me to, go with the program, go with the flow. And we decided to give someone the ticket, which I think was pretty goddamn nice, And so we asked some girl who looked like she was dying to get in. She looked like she was out there in the heat. So we hooked her up, and immediately I saw she was like with a pack of 3 other people that came out of nowhere. It was kind of cool. One of the guys she was with, we were talking in line, and he did hear the last review, so that was kind of interesting. So that was a moment, but I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think she was that fucking appreciative, to be honest with you, to give her that ticket. So I know it's a very happy-go-lucky. Maybe it's just a normal thing. People grab tickets. I mean, we got inside and she disappeared. She just kind of turned the corner and poof, she was gone, and that was that. So I don't know. I guess I did my Dead and Company, Grateful Dead, good Deadhead, good deed of the day. But I don't know. I was a little surprised by that. Not gonna lie. I don't know what the etiquette is when it comes to that shit, but it is what it is. I hope she had a great night, whoever she was, wherever she went. Anyway, so that's that. So we got in there. The girl I went with was young. She's in her young 20s, so I was concerned that she would be bored off her ass given the length of the show and the style of music. But that was absolutely the opposite of the case. She absolutely had the same effect that it had on me. Absolutely loved it. I really think, and I know the purists, I don't say they don't like the Sphere. I know it's like I read a lot of comments. I learned from it. A lot of people don't care for it. It goes against the band and the capitalistic and the money grab and all that shit. They're not wrong. But you have to be open to the fact of how many younger people or people like me are going to see this because of the visuals and because of the graphics. It's just one of those things that, you know, it's bringing a lot of awareness to the band and to the music. And we had a great time. We had just as good of a time, just as good a time as the first time. So let me get into the set list because I know a lot of people are interested to that. Started with Alabama Getaway. The music never stopped. They love each other. Ramble on Rose. It Hurts Me Too. Lost Sailor and Saint of Circumstance. Now, this was weird. They had that intermission much earlier. Last time I kind of remember being right in the middle. This time I felt like it was an hour in. I don't know why. I guess it's maybe the length of the songs. It was just the right place to put it. But like I said, I noticed pretty quickly that these graphics were going to be different than the first one. It started with the same. It started with that starting in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, and slowly pulling out and taking you out into space. I feel like the last one was more space themed. I felt like we were in space more, if that makes sense. I was very shocked. Instead of, I don't know, I'm just going to talk about it now. There were a couple sections from the first show. Mainly the ones that really stick out to me was that little moment. There was like a 20-minute period where they took you to all their old venues. Not old, but some of like the most popular venues they ever played. Like I think it was Cornell University and I think Winterland. I don't know. That one I thought was pretty iconic. I thought that would stick in everything. But more importantly, the cartoon. That cartoon that I saw the first weekend with the motorcycle and the skeleton and dancing in the graveyard of the trains, I thought that would be a staple. That was unbelievable. But both of those, surprisingly, and a lot more of it were gone. But they were replaced with some pretty cool stuff. They had this one where it was this tunnel. Again, I'll try my best to match this up. That you were going through, and then you pop out and you're by the pyramids, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will, the Dead played a really famous, legendary show at the pyramids back in the day. There was a really cool one with the ship. I thought the ship was really neat. There was this pirate ship, which was cool. Right before that, you were flying over the water, and then it went whoosh down into the water and had a little aqua theme to it for a little bit. But that pirate ship was fucking badass. There was a disco one. There was a huge Grateful Dead disco ball, or just Dead & Company disco ball with the Grateful Dead logo. That really, the graphics on that, the clarity, that just really made you feel like, wow, this is pretty cool. The room felt like it was rotating. I think those were all part of the first act. I'm pretty sure. So let me do the set list for the second act. Sugar Tree, Stained Steven, Brown Eyed Woman, Cumberland Blues. Then there was this crazy drum solo. That one they kept from last time. The drum solo was awesome last time. It's like half an hour long with some of the best graphics you'll see the whole night. I'm happy they kept that because that was a pretty memorable one from the first one. I think they're going to keep that on all of them. Space, Dear Prudence, Sugar Magnolia, Scarlet Begonias, Sunshine Daydream, Broke Down Palace, and then they closed out with One More Saturday Night. So again, I started to realize now the graphics were going to be different, but I saw a lot of similar ones. There was one that had all the backstage passes. This is my favorite one. They did it at U2. They take the Sphere, which is this dome, and they're able to square it up with the graphics. So you feel like you're in a square room all of a sudden, but you know in your dome. It's a real trip on your mind. So they did that this time, but they added a little bit more to it. They inverted the passes to make them like neon looking. They did some hippie, trippy kind of stuff to it. So they took some of the same stuff, but they messed with it. What else was interesting? I'm looking at my phone, some of these videos, see what I'm forgetting. There was the highway one, which I know that one they had last time where you're on this rainbow highway going through space. I loved that. I thought that was awesome. The drum solo again. You know, they had this really cool one with it was also ocean, and all of a sudden you saw the little bears dancing through, and then it became this whole trippy thing of the Bears all over the place. The top, the bottom, all the Deadhead logos and Grateful Dead logos all dancing around. I thought that was really cool. There was a rose one that was really, really, really cool. It just, you felt like you were in a bucket and it was slowly being filled by roses until it was completely full. I'll post that video. That was a really cool one. Still a lot of space theme stuff. Some of them were the same, some of them not. And then the whole journey did what it did last time. At the end, they show Earth, and you just start zooming into it, and you end up back where it all began at Haight-Ashbury. So it's pretty awesome stuff. I lean towards the visuals, and I know some people don't like that, but I'm not going to lie, that's why I'm there. But the music sinks in. It's a 3.5 to 4 hour show. Started at 7:30. This one was done at 11. I think the first one I went to finished at almost 11:30. So I think they tightened up the show a little bit. But I didn't feel bored for 1 second. She didn't feel bored for 1 second. There's nothing wrong with the music being the soundtrack for the visuals instead of the visuals being, for the diehard fans who love the music, the visuals are an add-on for the music. For the people like me who are just new to this and whatever, don't really know the music is just, I hate to say it, but it's true. The band is secondary, and I know people will be upset about that, but that's the reality of it. And unless you're sitting down on the first level, the band is always going to be secondary because that place is so fucking massive. And the visuals and the graphics are so intense and so crazy. The band just becomes secondary. Unless you're right there in front of them, then the graphics become secondary. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Whatever it takes to get people to like they said, get on the bus or get aboard or get familiar with this kind of music and this kind of vibe. And it's a vibe, and the whole thing's a vibe. And the people that are there and their fans that are there are honestly just as important as the music and the visuals. And it's a combination of all these three things together that make this a pretty special experience that nobody should miss. They added some more shows, so I guess they're doing really well. My guess, 3.5 hour show, what those fuckers charge for alcohol and for popcorn and soda and whatever the fuck you want to get there, it is so expensive. So I'm a big fan of sneaking as much as you can. I do. I put a water bottle full of whiskey in my back pocket, and I just walk in, and it works. And I probably save myself $200 on that alone over 4 hours. So don't miss out. Don't miss out. I could see myself very easily going again on a light weekend. If there's nothing going on and they're playing, it's a lot of money. I know it is, but these are visuals I'm never going to forget. All right, hopefully you made it this long. This is longer than I thought it would be. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. If you want more information, detailed stuff, I would go listen to my other review. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give this, again, I don't remember what I gave the first one, but this is pretty much the same. 9.75, somewhere in that ballpark. You don't have to know a single word or a single note to any song, and you will really, really enjoy it. Thanks for listening. I will see you at the next show, and someone tell me how many shows I got to go to officially call myself a deadhead. I'm kind of curious. Bye-bye. I did want to add one thing at the end because I completely forgot. It's important. To me, it's important because I've met him many times. So this is going to add on at the end. I don't even know if anybody even makes it this far. Being a local in Vegas, there was one guy I used to see at a lot of shows, and he was just as big of a fan of live music as I am and as we are. Bill Walton. I used to see him at the Fogarty shows all the time. I used to see him so many shows I would see him at. He was always very nice. I always went up and talked to him. I was a fan of him when he played. He was such a gracious, such a nice guy. He could not be ignored. He stood out. I have pictures. Maybe I'll post. I don't know if I'll post them. I have pictures of parting with him at a Fogarty show. He was known also as being one of the great deadheads of all time. One of the biggest fans. They posted, and I know they did it the night before too. They posted some video of him up on the screen, which I thought was such a classy mood. They paid real tribute to one of their real fans, and like I said before, the fans are what makes this band move. It's the fuel to this engine, and he was one of the biggest ones. And I thought it was a beautiful thing that they paid tribute to him. So just wanted to add that. Thanks, bye-bye.